Yeah, too late as well. Too bad. Variety earns MVP for that one. Looks fantastic. Ton of control coming out from him. And Dignitas take the victory. Nice neck and neck one though. That was the best that we could really ask for from these two teams. Again, Dignitas and Rival, the players, the teams that wound up in the finals of our spring split, and we'll continue bringing the pain. Let's get into game number 2 though, and see if Dignitas can bounce back and give us some bonus smite. Or excuse me, Rival can bounce back and give us some bonus smite, or if Dignitas will cut our European game short. Rival with the first option, looking to ban things out. I expect to see the same Giannis's as well.
I think that it's pretty safe to say that they're not going to allow Giannis, not going to allow Raw. I think that those two picks for these two teams are just way too strong to actually give up. And Rival, they clearly have zero intentions of taking it. They're going to be first pick yet again. Wouldn't be surprised to see them opt for that Guan Yu. Also wouldn't be too surprised if Dignitas chose to actually ban the Guan Yu.
The Guan Yu had a decent impact in the game, but I think that this is really representative of what will happen with these teams picking Guan Yu. Very, very powerful, and I'm not going to say he's not first pickable. He absolutely is, but you have to play with the Guan, right? And what Rival, they had the Guan. You said they relied on their defense. Guan is a big part of that. You can trounce the Guan. You can step over the Guan. And I think that's what wound up happening. Rival opted to go for the first pick, Athena, which then gives Dignitas Guan Yu and
Wlfy.
I would love to see both of them here. Those are the power picks of the meta right now. And Taco, agree or disagree? Dignitas have many more hours in the gym on Guan than Rival.
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, Trixtank, the one and only. I mean, this guy, wasn't Guan Yu the very first one that he tried to bring out at the launch tournament even?
Yep.
And so, no surprises whatsoever to see them defaulting back to it. I think that the Guan Yu also leaves a ton of ambiguity still for Dignitas' draft as is, because you don't know if it's going to be solo or support or even jungle, really. So having a god pick choice that could possibly go into 3 roles leaves a lot of question marks, and that's going to be for Rival to try and fill in the blanks. But Dignitas' draft so far, I am, whew, yikes.
Yeah, there's a lot of spice on that side. Achilles does make it through the draft though, so Rival will get the newest god on their side. Achilles still the newest, right? Chernobog not legal?
Chernobog not legal just yet.
Yeah, so Achilles still the
He's got to marinate a little bit longer.
I thought that was a Ymir ban. I think your boy needs glasses. Hebo banned out here. The Ram ban, and there's the character we were discussing so much so earlier on. The Aphrodite also going to be banned out here. Final ban of the draft is Zyrhoes. So Rival now on they have the option in the moment. Dignitas looking for a mid lane for Zyrhoes. And who knows? For
what it's worth, though, I do think that Dignitas have done a phenomenal job with this draft in Game 2. They are not looking for bonus smite heading into a possible Game 3 here even. I mean, it almost doesn't even matter. You could pretty much plug and play any mid laner, just the surrounding team composition. It is just so overwhelming to look at.
I love the Medusa pick here from Rival. I think Medusa does very well against Wlfy specifically. She can catch up to him with the dash, and the ultimate will catch a lot of people tripping. How do you like that matchup, Taco?
I think that no matter what, Dignitas are probably going to win this game. I would be hard-pressed to believe that they drop this one, and so if they end up losing here in Game 2 and we see a Game 3, it's kind of shocking with the team comp that they got.
Well, shocking because they got Raj. Is that where you're going with that one?
No, but it always happens every single broadcast.
So it is on purpose.
Apparently.
I think you're just hanging out with aggro a little bit too much. But either way, clearly you think it's going to the black and yellow. The draft certainly looks like it. Rival got to pull out a lot of fun stuff in order to get this victory. Ryan and Finch, bring us the game.
Consider the game brought. Tom and Taco, Finch and Aggro are here for you. And already the picks and bans look like they might be leaning a little bit towards Dignitas. You agree with Taco here?
Yeah, I mean, getting Guan and X-Ball is pretty scary. But at the same time, I mean, Rival got Athena, which, as I've said, is such a determining factor between these two teams historically. And they got Achilles. I don't think this is over by any stretch. I still think Rival got away with a pretty good draft here.
Yeah, and Discordia on that draft as well. Wlfy looked great on it last game, so no reason not to give that one right back to him. This time with even more damage coming through from the Achilles. But what about you all at home? Are you swayed by these drafts? Who do you think is going to win this game? Vote for us now in the Mixer polls. That way we can see what y'all think.
excited to see what this Medusa is going to bring from Vote, because Medusa's a pick we haven't seen a whole lot of so far in Season 5. I wonder if there's something that he feels confident in with or against Gvolanke, if he feels like he can consistently get the poke out. I mean, Medusa does bring excellent poke in the early game, and X-Ball kind of wants to poke with you because it stacks his passive very, very quickly. I wonder if that's why Vote is going for it here, or just looking for a big team fight ultimate, because you need some big team fight damage with an Achilles on your team if he's going to find those consistent executes.
Yeah, I think that could certainly be part of it. I mean, that aspect is so strong, especially in the laning phase. Maybe the ultimate giving you some CC immunity towards the end of the ultimate from Arkkyl as well, so you can kind of keep slithering along as you channel the ultimate and use that too. So I mean, there's some interactions that Vote could be feeling confident on here up against the Gvolanke. As the sprint comes out, they are fighting already.
Arkkyl going forward onto Vote and Kalas here. Arkkyl just has those Brancing Bolas, remember. Not any other ability, but it's still enough to get the better end of this damage. And Trixtank hasn't even gotten the heal yet, Finch. Once he gets that conviction, he's going to be nice and healthy, as will Arkkyl, who's already much healthier than Vote at this stage.
Yeah, Arkkyl looks like there was not a fight. Yeah. He looks like he's ready to keep going. Good shots coming out here from Vote now, though, as they fight outside the minion wave. But because he spent that attention trying to poke him down, this should be a very easy purple buff for Dignitas to grab now. Maybe not if Ice Ice wraps around the backside. Blink has been used to catch him down. He's going to use the dash to close the distance. Now the stun lands on a Trix as well.
But Trix doesn't have the sprint, but the pathing there from iceicebaby went underneath instead of on top. If he stops that escape route from Trixtank and Arkkyl by going above that purple buff rock instead of underneath it, that could have been a first blood there for Rival.
But it looks like he is at least going to be able to strip away the purple buff from them, as our polls are very close, 53% to Rival, even considering them losing the game 1 just now. Still, the fans there are supporting them, and I think for good reason. Rival have looked so strong.
I mean, the Rival's got no shortage of fans right now in the SPL, and they always seem to feel like Rival's got a good shot. And you know what? They're right. Every time Rival steps on the battlefield, they've got a really good shot at winning a game, especially, I mean, look, I get it. It's scary that the duo lane is Guan Yu X-Ball, but at the same time, Deathwalker has Ama, iceicebaby has Achilles. Ama is not a pick that we see a whole lot of, but the last time we saw it was at Masters Land, and Deathwalker dominated in this solo lane with it. He's saying that if you have a low-pressure laner, Ama gets to insta-clear very early. If she's not worried about getting soloed by all-inning the wave, you have a real opportunity to push forward and play aggressive in that lane as an Amaterasu.
We talked about already, Trixtank could be in trouble for first blood. He is. Vote catches him down with the dash. First blood goes over to the Hunter for Team Rival.
Vote getting off to a good start, and that's that. Guan Yu sustain doesn't make quite as much of a difference in the early game. Needs to start leveling that conviction, and Medusa has great all-in potential, plus anti-heal on that Lacerate. Don't forget about that. That's a strong anti-heal for connecting that dash.
And that was them regaining the lane pressure as QvoFred and Variety come in trying to strip away the buff. Deathwalker's low. He's also plucked back in. Good stun from Ice Ice, though. Creates a moment for Deathwalker to retreat, but he actually comes back in trying to provide the passive to help Ice Ice get away.
That's using that Ama positioning in the right spot. Love Deathwalker. Yeah, just sticking his head in there, giving Ice Ice the very edge of that Ama aura while still staying safe. And that's what these double warriors can do in the early game. Achilles Ama is going to be difficult to fight up against, even as a Ratatosker, because Sobek just doesn't bring quite as much damage in the early stages as either of the enemy characters.
And then that was Dignitas trying to see what they could do to take advantage of it and just getting kind of pushed back. Taking another look back over here at the duo lane, though. Kalas did such a good job helping to reestablish lane pressure for Vote. He went up and taunted them, I believe, like through the wave, and gave an opportunity for Vote to get some clear and some poke all at once, and ends up helping to set up for that kill. Now, Vote level 4. Got to be feeling comfortable in this matchup up against the Gvolanke.
Should be getting very close to finishing off those Devourer's gauntlets at this point. And then once he has the Petrify, it's going to be really easy for Vote to be the aggressor in this lane. If you can catch Arkkyl dashing forward onto you with that Rising Jaguar, stun him out in the midst of that, even trying to get away, getting that slow onto him before the CC immunity comes out on Rising Jaguar, that could be a real big boost for him.
QvoFred doesn't have beads available for another 77 seconds or so as he comes in looking for the gank on a Deathwalker, who uses the ultimate to try and get away, getting some help out from Arkkyl onto the aggression. Here's the rest of Team Dignitas. Deathwalker, they know where he's at. Pluck does not land. Variety get to keep up the chase by himself, but Deathwalker's out of there.
Man, Deathwalker uses the ultimate at the perfect time. Hits level 5 right when he needs to. and use that dazzling offensive to give himself CC immunity against the gank coming in from QvoFred. And that's, to me, an identification of what went wrong against this AMA at Masters LAN when Deathwalker was really dominant on it, was that there wasn't any pressure coming from QvoFred. It looks like Dignitas said, okay, we see that Deathwalker's going for it again. Let's just play around it a little bit better this time around. But Deathwalker is ready for it. And playing around, Dignitas is playing around of him very well.
It does look like the Variety's at least gotten some experience over Deathwalker here in the solo lane, but it doesn't amount to a whole lot at this point in the game, but just good adjustments that we're seeing from these two squads. They play each other so often. It seems like they're very often up near the top of the crop at this point in Europe right now. It's tight up there, though. Energy and Obey over there as well. I mean, it's hard to make it in as QvoFred rotates over to Duo. Actually, I'm coming underneath Vote. There's the pings coming out, so I think maybe it's going to let Vote go.
A slippery snake into the jungle. Vote get a little bit lucky there that Qvo just lost track of him.
Yeah.
On Arkkyl telling, that's got to just be Arkyl's job telling Qvo where Vote is going. I think that Qvo was assuming Vote was hiding in that little area instead of actually going all the way toward the back.
Arkkyl uses the Rising Jaguar, but Ice is right there with the blink. Vote takes him down. Another kill goes over to this Medusa in the duo lane. Arkkyl got to take yet another seat for 10 seconds.
And that's just using that Achilles pressure early on. Doesn't even need the stun, just that extra damage. But we're already starting to see how strong this Medusa is at this point in the game. That was a big chunk of damage onto that Wlfy very, very quickly, just using that acid spray and a little bit of that Viper shot action. Rival on top of some gods that we haven't seen a whole lot of in the duo lane recently. Khepri and Medusa making them look pretty decent.
And I was going to say, coming into this match, I mean, so good at making adjustments. Our team Rival, they've got Alpha Tackle, their coach, that I know was in their ears after that first game. The squad themselves so good at making adjustments within games as well. And so they come out with this Medusa over here in the duo lane. They're able to grab the Achilles for themselves when Dignitas banned away the Odin and the Ra. Now they're looking much stronger here in this game, too. We're only just getting started, but already they seem to be on better footing.
Well, that was also a good identification from Rival that Arkkyl was going for the Devo Gloves rush. Didn't back and finish off his boots, and so he didn't have really any movement speed available to him, whereas Vote decided to try and push this early lead that he's got for himself and try and use it with that boots rush. Not going to be quite as good, you know, around 10 minutes or so, maybe 9 minutes, when he's going to be sitting mid-stacked, where Arkkyl will likely have his boots done and be fully stacked on the Devo Gloves. But right now, Vote can take advantage of the lack of mobility from Arkkyl.
You saw him, though. Deathwalker went back to the meditation over there in solo lane as his first relic selection, so clearly something that Rival are valuing coming out of their solo laner, as he just uses it to try and top himself back up in the solo lane up against the Sobek, who does have a little bit of anti-heal there in the kid, and in that solo lane matchup, we'll see if he can find the full value.
Well, Deathwalker has been kind of against teleport, even at the Masters LAN, wasn't really picking it up, so doesn't surprise me that he's trying different relics out in that solo lane. A little surprised that it isn't the sprint to get it out with lurking in the waters if he gets into a bad spot. Meditation, just keeping his mana pool up. Ama does require a lot of mana usage by switching stances a lot and by using that reflective mirror. So I don't mind the meditation as much this time around, because you're going to get some more value out of it on the Ama. Well, I didn't even mind it on the Guan Yu, because Guan Yu also pretty mana intensive. It was really the iceicebaby med that I wasn't a fan of last game.
It's going to help him out as Variety has a ton of mana return in his own right. So maybe to sort of help close some of that gap as well in the solo lane matchup. We'll see just how well he'll be able to make use of that as Trixtank and Arkkyl return over here to the duo lane, still a little bit behind Vote off the strong start, and some extra pressure that we've seen from iceicebaby over here on the duo lane side of the map to help out. QvoFred, though, on the other hand, been relatively quiet, I feel like, early on this Ratatosker.
Tried to put some pressure on the right, didn't really work out, and ever since he's kind of just been farming it up right now on this Ratatosker, which isn't a bad thing, but Qvo's kind of known for having these big explosive moments where he can be quiet for a little bit and then make one incredible play and set it all up.
And looks like Wlfy's going to be the target. He gets plucked back in, able to avoid it by dashing away, and drops the ultimate of Variety, who gets chunked, but Zyrhoes is able to find Ice, and Qvo's up in the air, looking for a target, doesn't knock anybody up, and now trying to create some space for Variety, who's very low.
Qvo's got to use the beads, but Variety was able to escape. And Zyrhoes combined with the rest of the team to bring down iceicebaby before he could get that fatal strike off. So ends up being a 1-for-0 in Dignitas' favor.
And it ends up working out for them very, very well to try and slow down this Achilles. And Justin, I was saying that QvoFred had been kind of quiet. Arkkyl gets soloed! What? The damage from Vote on this Medusa is nuts.
Arkkyl just didn't really respect that damage coming from Vote, and that's one of the advantages of playing in God. You don't see that much. When was the last time Arkkyl played against Medusa? It's probably been a little bit, right? I mean, you don't get used to getting hit for 70% of your health by hitting that full combo there from Vote. Impressive thus far on the Medusa. 3-0, all 3 kills from Rival onto the Medusa.
Also gets to claim the purification beads of Arkkyl as well. Another 130 seconds before those are available, but much sooner they're going to have to worry about this Gold Fury, which is already at half health. Zyrhoes is here, but he's at half health himself and in a whole lot of trouble. Gets sandwiched between Ice and Collis. He's dead. Now the Gold Fury very easily going to be going the way of Rival. That's a big swing.
Huge for Team Rival. Now they've got a massive early game lead, and their late game team fight is still really good, Finch.
Yeah.
Between the Medusa and the Ama that'll join these team fights, I'm not worried about just, you know, an early lead not meaning a whole lot here for Team Rival. Now on the other side, Dignitas has that X-Ball late game, the Guan Yu Sustain in the late game, the Sobek in the late game, so it certainly isn't over by any stretch. Rival's late game team fight is good, but so is Dignitas's.
And Dignitas might even slightly edge it out. So if Rival can come in with this lead, that they certainly would not scoff at that one at this point. Vote, though, 3-0-0, already level 12. Has a chance to go back and snag up a second relic if he'd like to, as opposed to Arkkyl, who's level 10, 0-2-1, been the main recipient of this very good early game from Vote so far.
That's the right word for it, because Arkyl's kind of just been getting dominated right now in that duo lane. The crazy thing is, I mean, think back to that solo kill. Even if Arkkyl beads earlier and then dashes, he's dead to Petrify. No matter if he's looking at it or not, there was enough burst damage right away that he was toast no matter what.
It's just too much damage, and Collis could be the one that's in trouble now. Zyrhoes is able to help remove him from the map. Athena has been having her own struggles here early on. It's going to be the first death that Collis experienced, but not the first time he's been the target. Zyrhoes 2-1-0 now.
Good recognition by Team Dignitas that Collis is going for the Gauntlet of Thebes. While that will make him very tanky once those stacks are done, not that tanky right now. Let's take advantage before those protections are really there, and Dig does just that. And surprise, surprise, guess who starts it? Variety, off an early rotation. Variety has been the cornerstone of Dig so far in the summer split.
He's been playing incredibly well for them. He's going to continue to do so on this Sobek. For a while, they're considered might be the best god in the game, at least coming out of the solo role. So much disruption and control he's able to provide in the team fights, and that's the kind of god you want to put in Variety's hands, a facilitator for this Team Dignitas roster in a huge way, and we're seeing some of it right now.
And that's such a change of pace for Variety from when he really burst onto the stardom scene, right? When he was on Obey and he was the hard carry. If a Variety wasn't winning, Obey wasn't winning. That was the kind of thought I think a lot of people had about that Obey team when they went to Worlds in Season 3. Now Variety has really switched it up. He isn't the hard carry here, at least by design. He's the setup man. Now, by playing setup, he carries a lot of games, but not by doing all the damage, by being the one with all the kills. He's setting up for his teammates, and he's become really, really good at that.
Collis and Ice are both over here on the left-hand side, so they'll end up running into QvoFred, who's in the jungle on the right of Tosker, but not really going to continue to fight over it. Actually continuing to step forward aggressively is Collis. Looking for Trixtank here behind the wall. Does land the taunt on him and Vote. We know he's got plenty of damage, but Trixtank is able to dash out of the way, so he'll be okay. Meanwhile, Wlfy's been plucked, and QvoFred is here, able to avoid the knockup, though, perfectly as Wlfy. I think that might have saved his life.
Really nice job there by Wlfy. Now double stun from Deathwalker. That forces the beads from Zyrhoes. Variety taunts it in, but meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Vote getting isolated. He can't find the kill on the Trixtank, but Variety falls in the mid lane.
Ice is able to find the execute to at least make that 1-for-1, but catching Vote on the rotation over, that was really big from Team Dignitas to try and make sure they're able to even that one out, because Wlfy, I mean, he made it with the jump in the mid lane. That was all they needed. He gets away from QvoFred and is perfectly safe.
Well done by both sides. Getting that kill on the Vote is huge, though. It didn't go to the target you may have wanted. Arkkyl doesn't end up getting that kill, but I believe it was Qvo who managed to secure that one, as everyone else was on the run in the mid lane from the surge forward from Deathwalker and the rest of Team Rival. So overall, not too bad for either side. Vote takes a tumble. You know Dignitas is happy about that. But Wlfy surviving is the big storyline, and Variety falling. The two people who have really done a lot for their respective teams end up losing their lives in that fight.
Yeah, look where they are on the player damage charts. Variety, not too surprising, is up at the top. The Soul Eaters trade so often, but Vote already with 6,700 damage. I mean, this Medusa has been swinging for Vote in the early game very, very well. Already has the Ick finished, working now into very likely the Executioner to try and bridge that next gap, and he's been kind of putting it to Arkkyl a little bit on the Wlfy.
Well, surprise, surprise, Arkyl's going again for Rage right away, right after his boots, and it paid off for him really, really nicely last time around. No, didn't expect anything different here in game 2.
Yeah, gonna roll those dice yet again if they dive him underneath the tier 1. And we'll see if we can have quite those same results, as Wlfy is about to respawn here shortly, Ryan. And Team Rival have themselves about a 2,000 or so gold lead, so if they want to try and go force that fight, they do have that small advantage to try and help them out, but we're 15.5 minutes in, so 2,000 gold is certainly not the end-all be-all.
Qvo got ward vision on the bottom left-hand side there, at least tried to for the moment, but Rival will seize control of all the ward vision once again on this left side jungle, right as Gold Fury spawns. Well timed.
iceicebaby. It's going to be around, but the dash-in's coming out from Collis. They put on the Zyrhoes, pull him right into the Petrify. Vote delete Zyrhoes really before the fight even begins. Arkyl's ultimate is down as well on the Wlfy. Now with the 5v4, Rival can position around the gold.
That's the old school combo, baby. Athena taunt into Medusa Petrify. You have nowhere else to look but right into the eyes of Medusa.
Yeah, it's a pretty clear combo. You don't want to look this way, but I'm going to make you anyway. And ends up getting off a bunch of damage. Zyrhoes never really had much of a chance there without beads available for him. There's still 3 seconds from cooldown. Gold Fury's incredibly low, and Rival able to grab it. QvoFred could not wrap in, neither could Variety. And there's not even really going to be a fight. Rival got that cleanly.
Dignitas decided to give it up without much of an engagement, but look at where Qvo's going, underneath, towards speed. Believe he got spotted out there by iceicebaby, but it's not going to matter. Qvo gets the buff and has an easy escape route should he just choose to use the ultimate.
And he is going to do that. Once he recognizes Ice here and has the stun, he's going to go ahead and get out of dodge, stealing the speed buff in response. But the Gold Fury and the kill going the way of Team Rival. They already had about a 2,000 gold lead, so this is going to push it up closer to 4,000 at this point, about 3,600 that they're going to have in their advantage over Team Dig.
Whoa, did you see that third item there for iceicebaby? Is that a shield of regrowth?
Oh, yeah.
On the Achilles, gives him some CDR, some cheap health as well. And whenever he uses that second ability and uses another ability to give himself some healing, he'll get 40% movement speed. I don't hate it, I gotta say. I can't say I dislike it here. Now, it does hurt him that he's only getting that every time his 2 is available. But there's already an internal cooldown on the Shield of Regrowth, so you wouldn't be getting it all the time anyways. Feels a little bit bad that he's not getting it every single time he uses an ability when that cooldown is up for Shield of Regrowth, but overall, I think it makes some sense.
Yeah, to be fair, every time you're going to do something as Achilles, you probably just want to push 2 first, because it kind of just makes you do those things even better.
Yes.
So he'll get good value out of it, I think, but you're right, maybe not as much as someone like Hercules. You can just like kind of push it, he's instantly moving faster, you know, with that mitigate wounds.
Right, instead of using 1 cooldown, you have to use multiple cooldowns every time, and it's not like, you know, a character even like Thanatos, who maybe doesn't need multiple cooldowns, but is getting it out after everything he does, whether it's killing minions or using an ability. He's getting it every time it's up. Shield of Regrowth usually works best in those sorts of situations, but overall, I think it makes some sense.
Pyromancer going to go the way of Rival. They go in with the dash taunt. It does force the ultimate from Trix, but Wlfy's ultimate is going to be down as well. Through the Cosmos, going to knock up 2 members. No immediate follow-up available from the rest of Dig, but now comes out the pluck onto iceicebaby, who gets sent right back in towards the damage from Zyrhoes. He's up onto the Tycho drums as Trixtank takes more poke than he was looking for. Vote has the Aegis, and that's keeping him alive. Now Rival have a chance to regroup.
Qvo immediately heading towards speed, but he's going to meet up with iceicebaby, who knew he was coming, had that speed timer in his mind. Well done to keep his buff safe there up against QvoFred. I love the idea. Just taunt straight into Discordia Apple, probably ends up killing Trixtank, but Trix just a little bit too quick on the reaction to get caught by that.
But that's everything committed from Team Dignitas there in the mid lane. They really aren't able to find much at all. All their ultimates going to be on cooldown after that, and yes, they do get quite a bit of relic usage out of Team Rival, so only if they can punish that really will they get much value out of that heavily commitment, because Qvo, Zyrhoes, and Arkkyl all still have their beads and Aegises available.
Rival doesn't seem too deterred. They're going to go right back to it. Zyrhoes loses the purification beads because of Colossus' dash taunt, and the tier 1 tower goes down for Team Rival. It's just this Athena has just been so hard to handle for both of these teams.
But this is not the first time that Rival's gotten pressured, and then they're the ones who are the aggressor afterwards.
Yeah.
I feel like they do that better than any team. They don't let just who's the one that's making the moves on the map dictate who's the one that should be aggressive afterwards, as Ice uses the ultimate to avoid getting knocked up. Defender of Olympus is going to turn the tails, and Arkkyl is in the whole heap of trouble. Vote deletes him.
Vote is doing so much damage right now. He just brought down Arkkyl so quickly with that Medusa. Arkkyl used the Aegis, but by the time he did, he'd already lost most of his health bar. Great turnaround on the counter rotation in by Vote to save the life of his jungler, who probably wasn't too angry about having that extra 40% movement speed from Shield of Regrowth when he was on the run there.
Yeah, Vote's kind of LeBron James in here. He's just getting it done right now underneath the Tier 1 tower. Trixtank can't stand in the way either, as they do take down the Tier 1 tower. Shield wall's going to come out, but Petrify's more than enough. You don't even have to look this way. That's going to make another stone statue of Guan Yu, and Vote is untouchable right now at 6-1-0.
Man, this Medusa, this is what I love about Smite right now, is that you can have a character that hasn't gotten played in months and come out and go 6-1-0 and be top player damage and just be killing it. And it's not because of anything other than the composition works well with it. It's good into the matchup that they picked it in, and Vote's playing it well. It's nothing. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just that if you can play a god well enough and you think about why you're picking them and you're not just picking them to pick them, you can make anything work right now. And I really think that's the case.
And this is why, you're highlighting it there. It's so important not just pick stuff because it's the best thing or because it's at the top of some list somewhere. This just works for them. But Fire Giant is now being looked at by Team Dignitas. I think perhaps Rival are recognizing it, but it's half health this Fire Giant is at right now, and there's no positioning from Rival here to try and stop it.
Deathwalker just uses Kit to secure the XP.
He's here now.
Now he's here, has that ultimate, trying to body block in there, get in range. Dignitas get the Fire Giant, but here comes Rival's chase.
Team Dignitas are on the retreat, and Trixtank is in a whole heap of trouble. They'd be happy to only pay 1 life to strip away the Fire Giant, so Trix may fall, yes, to Wlfy, but the rest of Dig are out cleanly. What can Rival take off the back of that, though, is going to be the question, because Dig got a very sneaky FG.
Tier 2, then Gold Fury, but I love that call from Dig, man. I mean, they were feeling this game starting to slip away from them. Vote was huge. Everyone's ahead in XP right now against their respective roles for Rival. So let's go for Fire Giant, try and get something in our favor, but Rival immediately seem undeterred. Just keep going aggressive here against Dignitas.
And look at that. Dignitas is all there. They got Fire Giant, and they couldn't walk in. They could not defend that tier 2. And I think they're just correct. Rival's too far ahead at this point, especially Vote. If he can find a couple good shots on just about anybody, he's bringing them down. They don't go immediately to the Gold Fury. Dignitas are around to try and defend. If it's looked at, now Rival are making that pathing, and they want to pull this Gold Fury. I don't even know if Dig can get there in time. It's half health.
But Trix is back, and he's on the way as well. Gold Fury does go down, but Kalas immediately going to get flipped back as he dashed forward looking for the taunt. Finds both tags, and there's the double petrify, but Trixtank and Variety still nice and healthy as QvoFred caused some disruption on the back line.
Variety's going to continue pushing forward, though, while he's lurking in the waters. Team Rival are all grouped up inside the Nama Pass, so Sprint coming out as well. They want more Ice. Blinks in first. Kalas goes in, finds the taunt. Variety is going to be the target. Stripe hits 2 on the left-hand side. Deathwalker continuing to fight him even while he pounds on the drums. Vote is able to take down Arkkyl first on the left-hand side.
Now left side Phoenix is exposed. Mid Phoenix is available as well, but Rival, I guess, a little bit too poked out after that team fight to really go for a big objective. Vote was below half health and used both his relics and his ultimate, and he's been such a critical factor for Rival so far that's a big reason why they decided to back it up after winning that team fight. But that's the deal, right? They not only did they get the Gold Fury, they get a tier 2 tower, all that stuff's great, but they just won that team fight very, very cleanly against a team with Fire Giant, which tells you just how far ahead Rival truly is right now.
Yeah, and if there were any confusion, that was not Dignitas taking a Fire Giant so that they can themselves start pushing. That was them trying to do anything to put the brakes on the Team Rival right now, and it has not worked. 9,600 gold lead, 77 experience lead for Team Rival as well, and we saw it in full force in that fight around the Gold Fury. Dignitas cannot step in range of Kalas on these taunts, or the damage is coming.
Now, Petrify didn't do quite as much as I was expecting onto the 2 tanks of Variety and Trixtank, and that's a good sign right now if you're Team Dignitas, and you didn't just get one-tapped by that Petrify off Athena taunt, but still, you cannot afford to have both tanks get taunted and stunned right away from Vote. If that happens again, then it's likely that a Strife is going to come right afterwards, and when there's that much AoE CC going at your 2 tanks. One of them is almost certainly going to fall, and even if they don't, they're too low to continue the engagement afterwards.
Now, it's a full grouping from Dig in the mid lane, but Wlfy's here to defend the tier 2 at the very least. Meanwhile, the rest of Rival are going to keep right on pushing towards the Phoenix. They got the tier 2 in solo already. They have a full minion wave with them. Zyrhoes and QvoFred are on their way, but already inside the actual Phoenix room and up into the air is QvoFred. He has to go into the ultimate immediately. Ice does get knocked up, but now Qvo's in trouble. Aegis keeps him alive. Tycho Drum to force the retreat. Qvo comes in for the stun, but it's not going to be enough, and now the pluck comes out from Variety as well.
Vote still pretty vulnerable here. Petrify's not going to do a whole lot of work. Meditation try and keep him up as well. Big damage coming out of Variety. Vote dashes forward to get as much damage as he can, and then Wlfy comes in and cleans up house. A double kill for Rival's mid laner. Arkkyl on the run. Deathwalker trying to finish him off as Ice get a blink forward. Zyrhoes does bring down Kalas before his ADC falls, but still 3 left standing for Team Rival.
I know it was Wlfy's name up at the top of the screen, but that was all. Kalas finds a 2-man taunt somehow in that team fight so that Kalas can grab the double kill. Now to 3v1. Only Zero standing, trying to defend this Fiends on the right-hand side. There is no vote here, so a lot of their damage is missing, but he's already gone. iceicebaby puts him into the ground. Phoenix easily going to be taken now by Team Rival on the right-hand side.
And Dig counting their blessings that Vote isn't alive right now, because if he is, I think that's game for Team Rival, but just not enough objective damage between a Discordia, an Ama, and an Achilles to bring down the ultimate objective, the Titan, for Team Dignitas quite yet. But man, that fight went pretty well for Dignitas until Wlfy showed up. Because remember, that was a 5v4. Dig was able to back and get back in time. That was without Vote's relics because they were down from the last engagement. Variety found the blink pluck onto him. Vote was on the run from the get-go in that team fight. Still did lots of AoE damage between the Odysseus bow, the Petrify, the Acid Spit, and he gets enough damage off before he falls to guarantee that Wlfy gets big damage on the return.
And it felt like they were hoping Wlfy could delay more backs than he'd be able to. Wlfy was staying to defend the tier 2 if they siege for it, but Dig almost immediately call an audible and back to try and defend the Phoenix, and everyone's able to make it, and they get Ice diving, or not Ice, but QvoFred diving on the backside. They're able to get the initiation from Variety, but still, Kalas and Wlfy, man, when those two are together, it's just too much damage and control. Now it's a Rival who can finally regroup and grab this Fire Giant for themselves. Remember, the last one actually went to Dig because they stole it, and now they can start making the siege with the buff to help out.
Now, right side Phoenix being down is unfortunate for Dignitas, but it could be worse, right? I mean, left side Phoenix is usually the one that teams try to prioritize first since it is furthest away from the Fire Giant, but when Fire Giant's going uncontested anyways, it doesn't really matter which side Phoenix you have. Having a side Phoenix is good because now Rival gets an easy opportunity to let iceicebaby push up mid or Deathwalker push up mid, one of those two, put pressure on the mid Phoenix while the rest of Rival pushes the left-hand Phoenix all at the same time. And because they already have the right Phoenix down, Dignitas has to worry about how many minions are coming into their base, because even a full wave could end up being enough to let Rival get the victory if only one kill goes their way.
Team Rival grouped up in the duo lane. Once again, though, the Guan Yu is not on the sieging side of things. It's going to be Rival who's pushing down the door. And speaking of, Guan Yu has not had the best day so far here. Even though he's very strong in his own right, it has not worked. Kalas goes in, but it's Variety who finds Vote and pulls him right back in. Shell keeps alive, but only for a second. Arkkyl takes Vote out immediately. Now QvoFred's up in the air, and he's looking for a big knock-up himself. Does find Ice, but no one else immediately follows up. It's 5v4. Dig already have their pick.
Rival not backing up right away, though. Very surprised. Vote just laid on the bead. That's a Boosh beads right there. Using the purification beads mid-air after a Sobek pluck isn't gonna do you a whole lot of good. Variety had the blink taunt in the last game. This time around it's blink pluck, but it's working out either way for Dig.
Not nearly as easy that blink pluck, but Variety certainly able to find it. Now this is Dignitas moving off of their Phoenix to fight in the jungle. I know they have the 5v4, but they have got to make sure they're being careful. Kalas dashes in, doesn't immediately find the top. Ice goes in the backside, keeps Arkkyl away. Variety gets chunked a good bit, but no one's pulling the Gold Fury just yet.
Dignitas still not feeling particularly confident because remember that right side fire waves are coming in. Qvo will back, so it does mean that they're Titan safe, but now the advantage that they had of a 5-on-4 is now gone. At best case, it's a 4-on-4 now on that left-hand side.
And we talked about this earlier. Arkkyl Ryan is still going to continue to build into the crit. He has the rage, the executioner, but not much more than that. I mean, he's on the tier 2 of trying to get that Deathbringer online. Finally, he's able to sell the Hunter's Blessing and get that completed. That's a good power spike for Arkkyl as Wlfy goes down in favor of Rival to try and make those crits hit even harder.
No Hide of the Nemean Lion, no Thorns, no Spectral Armor even to worry about if you're Arkkyl. So yeah, build all the crit you want, man. You gotta have free reign right now on that crit build. May not do as much damage to Deathwalker as his team would need him to do, but Deathwalker, as I mentioned, no Spectral Armor, and that's the best way to defend against a crit-heavy build. He's not necessarily even trying to return that damage, but just mitigate it as much as possible.
They got to make sure they keep Vote alive, though, in this initiation. These last 2 fights, he's gone down early, and that's helped out Dignitas a lot.
It really has. That's been key, and Zyrhoes has put out a lot of damage on these sieges. This is where Raijin is very difficult to play against. How do you avoid the big bounce from the Raiju and even the Percussive Storm? Pretty big projectiles as well.
Deathwalker is going to be the one taking it up just for the moment. Is Variety looking for a nice juicy pluck target to bring back into the Phoenix for the rest of his team to devour up. They do have QvoFred defending in the mid lane though, so not everyone from Dig is right here under the Phoenix, but Qvo can certainly make it over quickly with that through the Cosmos ultimate. But now the pluck is on. Variety goes in but immediately gets taunted right back in. Wlfy deletes him from the map. Trixtank has got a retreat on the right hand side. Zyrhoes is up on the Taiko drum but can't quite find the targets that he wants to 5v4 for Rival.
Big damage, though, from Zyrhoes. Brought Vote down low and Deathwalker.
Kalos will be right back.
Fire Giant's going to fall off of these members pretty soon, but as you mentioned, Kalos comes right back, and that meditation comes up big on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, on the right, the Fire Minions finished off that weakened Phoenix as soon as it respawned. Qvo couldn't save it.
Yeah, this is splitting the focus of Dignitas perfectly. Phoenixes on both sides are down now. They'll have to worry about the minions starting to flood into the Titan room. Taunt lands on the Trixtank. Strife is right there behind as well as with the Unruly Magic. Half health now for Trixtank, and the Phoenix continues to get chunked by the shots from Vote.
Variety's going to be up in about 15 seconds, so not a lot of time for Rival to get this, but looks like Dignitas will concede that mid-Phoenix.
Yeah, no real way for them to fight into that. All Phoenixes are down. What a tough position to try and come back from now for Team Dignitas, but their Titan still stands. They certainly still have a chance to get it done, but Rival have clinically broken the base of Team Dignitas. They only have the one thing left to go, and that's the Titan.
Guan Yu has not been able to keep his members alive, and I just think that Athena has been the determining factor thus far. I don't know how you can watch these games and think anything but that Athena is the carry right now for whatever side gets her. Whoever's got second pick had best be banning Athena. That's all I'll say.
Ban Athena or get taunted. Those are the options, yeah. So I would pick ban if those are the ones that I had to choose from.
Yeah, of course they're going to pick ban. We do picks and bans every game.
Yeah, it's a good option, isn't it, to do pick bans? Imagine if we just went to the game with no bans and let everyone play whatever they wanted.
That's called blind picks.
That's called casual, and it's casual for casuals like you, Ryan. Get that out of here.
Really, Finch? You're going to come at me for being a casual, huh?
What are you trying to say? You trying to say that Joust isn't competitive?
That is exactly what I'm saying, yes.
Everybody loves Joust. Mitch is on my side here.
I really don't.
You really don't?
Not really.
Yeah? You don't love playing Bacchus and Wheelix and getting free kills?
No, I'd rather play Conquest. There are two true modes to Smite, and I won't hear any argument otherwise. It's Conquest and it's Assault.
Thank you for not saying Clash. It's Assault is good.
Who am I, Rain Day? Of course I'm not going to say Clash. Come on now.
Yeah, never stop gaming, guys. As Fire Giant goes the way of Team Rival, able to grab that without too much trouble. Team Dignitas now had to find some kind of way to keep these minion waves pushed up, to keep Rival from forcing their way into their base, try and let these Phoenixes respawn, get a little bit healthier, and deter the aggression from Rival. We saw the idea last time was to try and get Variety to go in and find a pluck initiation, but it just did not work. Rival played around it so well.
And that's what, I mean, the Blink pluck is scary. It closes a big distance. It can put you really far away from your team very quickly. But if you just beads the pluck and murder the Sobek, think of how far he had to pluck to get to you, right? I mean, he's really separating himself from his own team in a lot of instances like that. So that's all you got to do if you're a Rival. Let Variety Blink pluck, sure. Just got to be quick on the beats.
Now the initiation's on, and this time it's Trixtank who's getting things started off of the Phoenix, because they don't have any. QvoFred lands in as well with the ultimate from through the Cosmos, and Wlfy's already been deleted by Zyrhoes. Taiko drums has been used to great effect. Now Variety going to continue boxing against Vote. Plugs him right back in. Trixtank is there to follow up. QvoFred takes him down. This is a good fight for Dig, but they do lose Trixtank in trade.
Yeah, but iceicebaby, no! Just misses the second execute on a Variety who dashes away. Now, Dignitas has to defend their Titan against 3 waves of fire minions. Variety will lose his life, most likely here. Maybe Rival could just march it up and go with their fire minions. I mean, it's a 3-on-3.
But they don't have their damage.
They don't have their damage, but Ice Ice has a lot of damage, and honestly, so does Deathwalker at this point. He's got a Masamune there instead of Boots.
And that's right. Look how spread out Dignitas are. I don't think that they're expecting that this is what the play is going to be. They were all pushing up the waves, and instead Rival are starting to move into the Titan room. They're going to dash in, look for the taunt onto Arkkyl. Instead, he's going to dash away.
Ooh.
Now they're going to turn their attention towards the Titan, which Deathwalker is just hammering away at.
Deathwalker is getting hammered, though, by that Titan and finds the 2-man stun. Zyrhoes with the purification beads, and Deathwalker is dead to rights. Zyrhoes has to use the Aegis, but iceicebaby will find him. Now Qvo in some trouble, as is Ice. Qvo has the bubble on him, so won't get taunted away, but Ice has to use the purification beads. Dignitas saves their Titan for the moment.
That call not particularly clean from Team Rival as they try and go in and force the end of the game in a bit of a half-hearted manner and aren't able to get it. Phoenix on the right-hand side now back up as well as in duo, and they should be able to get their Phoenix back up in mid as well. Dignitas have held on somehow by fighting outside their base, and now they have everything back up, but Minion's just too strong.
Oh, man, you can see the conflict in Trix's eyes. He can't go melee the melee minions, because then the archers will come into tower and potentially kill that Phoenix, but he can't just let the melee minions do their thing because they'll take the Phoenix, and Trix is like trying to juggle a bunch of flaming bowling pins.
That's
right
actually
there.
a huge deal.
Couldn't get it. Yeah, it stops the Titan from regenning because all 3 Phoenixes aren't alive and healthy. That's when the Titan will regen, with 1 Phoenix being down, and that Phoenix being the one farthest away from Fire Giant. That is a big deal.
And it is funny, though, because Trix is trying to do everything. He could even use the ultimate, I believe, to get over and hit as much as he could. It just wasn't enough. That Phoenix being down means that, yes, the base is going to stay relatively easy for Rival to break into, as it would be if all the Phoenixes were regenning back up, and as were the Titan. That's a big deal for Rival.
Fire Giant will be up soon enough, and once Rival get that, I assume they'll just be pushing right side to try and use that split lane focus as they did earlier on to continue to put pressure onto Team Dignitas, but the gold lead is now irrelevant. Everyone full build on both teams for the most part. I believe Trix may be waiting on one more item or to finish off the tier 3 of one more item, and DD is, but outside of that, everyone's full build. So gold irrelevant, XP irrelevant. This game is not that far away from Team Dignitas being able to find a victory. If they can get one clean wipe, it'll not lose any Phoenixes in the process. They've got a chance to just march it down mid and end the game.
Trixtank is going to battle it out here in the jungle with Deathwalker and Collis, but they're much more interested on the solo side Phoenix, and that's where they're going to show their attention. Continue to come in as Trixtank into the jungle, though, trying to force them back. This would be so much better if that other Phoenix were up and they were at least regenning. What a nightmare that one goes back down, but Collis is here, and they got to be wary of the taunt coming out.
Ooh, taunt misses, though, and that might be Dignitas' signal to play aggressive. Not quite yet, as Wlfy throws that Strife underneath Trixtank. That'll be the Soul Reaver and Ethereal Staff proc, though. Means that Wlfy's damage won't be nearly as impactful.
2-man taunt comes out. Beads had to come out from 0. Trixtank also got taunted back in, but they're going to send a little bit of damage back his way. Magai's cloak is down for Variety as well, so if he goes in for the pluck to try and get the fight started off, he'll be easier to control right after that as well. But Team Rival are done pushing. They're going to come back towards FG and get that one pulled up to try and make this siege a little bit easier. Man, it's so rough that Phoenix died, man. I can't get over it.
I mean, I love what Rival does there, though. They don't have anything to do. Nothing to worry about with Fire Giant being down. So let's just hover and see what we can bait out from the enemy team. And getting Zyrhoes' beads, huge. Now Zyrhoes can't be anywhere near Collis until that taunt is down. And even then, he can't really be near Deathwalker after that because of the Dazzling Offensive. That's a big relic to lose at this stage of the game.
Team Rival should have a much easier time now trying to make this siege happen. Phoenix on the right-hand side is the call. Zyrhoes is off to the left a little bit to look for damage. Variety blinks in. He goes for the tail whip immediately, but gets striped for almost half his HP. QvoFred's up in the air, lands down on the 2. The target is going to be Wlfy, who gets Defender of Olympus, and Ice Ice cleans him up. Arkkyl takes down Collis in trade, and now Variety's the one who's low and has to dash away.
Qvo for Collis, honestly, I think favors Dignitas. Losing that Athena is massive for Rival. Plus, Wlfy's relics are down. He doesn't have an ultimate. Variety just needs to go back to base, heal up a little bit, and then look for a pluck. Wlfy's a sitting duck now.
Dignitas have done such a good job stalling this game out to put themselves in a position to be able to maybe still take this one away from Team Rival, who normally are the ones clinging to lives themselves. They're going to have to find another initiation, though, without having Collis available to them. But as soon as he's back, Defender of Olympus does bring him back in. That might be why they're sticking around.
Could be. Could just be a call to go to Pyromancer, get that, then immediately head back towards the Phoenix. By that time, Collis could ult in and get that speed buff.
Stepping in is Deathwalker, takes a couple shots. Poison darts come out from Xbalanque as well. Collis only 15 seconds away, and he'll be able to come join the fray almost immediately. Deathwalker goes in with the silence onto Variety to try and force him back away. Pop any Mad Guy's cloak he might have had.
Left side
but again,
Phoenix.
Dig, keep them defended.
But left side Phoenix, it's coming up right now, and
oh, man.
Fire Wave is going in, and Fire Wave will get it. Dignitas couldn't defend.
But Collis is here. Trixtank immediately has to use the ultimate to get the two-man stun out, but the taunt controls him. The Golden Apple of Discord's going to come out as well as Arkkyl continues to fight against iceicebaby on the backside. They actually take him down. QvoFred finds the last hit, and again, Dignitas defend.
Is Rival still sticking around? Man, talk about a
Look at the
stubborn
minions.
bunch.
They're moving right into the Titan room right now. It's incredibly low. Arkyl's got to come over to try and make some kind of defense happen. Meanwhile, the rest of Rival are going to make their assault on the Phoenix on the right-hand side. They've got this base certainly still weak, and Arkkyl drops down the ultimate. This is the chance to push in while Rival cannot see. But the Stripe hits two!
Man.
The Stripe hits two, and Deathwalker takes down Zyrhoes. That could certainly open up the base for Team Rival. Finally, they're able to break through on Team Dignitas, who have defended for their lives. 4 members strong. The dash comes in. The taunt comes in as well. Trixtank's been eliminated as well. Dragged him right off the horse. Team Rival finally have a chance to take this game.
Well, I'll say double kill for Vote. That Titan looking mighty tasty now, but so is QvoFred, as is Arkkyl. Couple little after-dinner desserts for Rival. They get their deicide, and they force game 3. That patient siege took them quite a long time to actually break the base of Dignitas there, but they finally get it done. It kind of all does come back to Trix not being able to save that left side Phoenix, doesn't it?
I mean, it's too bad. I mean, can you really expect your Guan Yu to be able to do that? It was so many fire minions over there. He did everything he could, but couldn't quite keep it standing. And I love Rival continually aggressing the Phoenix on the right-hand side so that they can't go over and defend that Phoenix when it respawns again on the left, and minions take it.
I mean, what was that, a 5-minute siege on the right-hand side? It took forever. I mean, multiple members died, respawned, and came back to the fight without anyone leaving at all. It was crazy.
Well, who was your MVP in that game this time? Going to be coming over from the side of Rival as they even this up, force a game 3. And what more could you expect from these two? They were just in the finals at Smite Masters. They've been trading blows for it feels like splits now. These two teams are as close as you could ask.
And what is the deciding pick in that one? Again, Athena, but also Medusa for Vote.
That's right.
Comes out of nowhere with that Medusa pick. I wonder what Dignitas' response is going to be to that duo lane.
Well, let's get back over to the desk and see if they think that Medusa was as big as we do. Please break that one down.
I'm really glad Ryan sat there and mentioned the fact that he wants to see Dignitas just the duo lane. Because the dual lane really is what made this game happen. I mean, early, that's where the first bloods and some of the early kills happened. And then, of course, we saw everything divulge from there, or devolve from there, rather. Shout-outs to the Medusa.
I'm going to apologize in advance as well to Team Dignitas for assuming that Caster's Curse couldn't affect me from the analyst desk, because it clearly came into play here. I think that... dual lane issues aside, it just felt as though that rough start transitioned for Dignitas into the mid and late game as well. Everything just seemed to go wrong, even in the moments that they should have gone right. And I think that all those little factors combined just ultimately led into Dignitas being unable to actually revive themselves in game 2 here. But yeah, that was a pretty brutal start, though, especially considering that, like, you expect the Xbalanque Guan Yu lane to struggle a little bit.
Sure.
Medusa, however, I think Vote carries this game without a doubt in my mind. I don't think that any of this would have been possible had he not had such a strong beginning.
And what a surprise. He's actually going to be our most valuable player of the game. And like I said, really no surprise here. 10 kills in total, if I'm not mistaken, with the triple kill at the end. And Vote looked fantastic as it happened. And you mentioned something specifically about this matchup. Now, the combo of the Athena Medusa is really, really, really powerful. But I want you to talk about the ability-based hunter versus Wlfy specifically?
Well, it's just being able to maintain your spacing. You don't have to get into the range for the branching bolas to actually proc against you and apply. And even though it's just only like 14, 15 player damage, it does add up eventually, especially when you're looking at a Wlfy passive where you're only requiring 1,000 damage in order to actually build up a stack for it. And having a possibility for an additional 30 power even around like 16, 20 minute marks is still pretty devastating to actually try and box against. So I think that the ability-based hunter to have relatively safe lane clear, huge part of the reason why Dignitas seem to struggle there.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You wind up before with just out of the gate, Hunter's Blessing and Devo gloves. You're hitting branching bullets. The secondary hit is hitting for 19, almost 20 damage. 5 hits, and all of a sudden you're at 100. It's just a small step to 1,000 for a stack. So staying out of the way of that damage is a really big part of playing against Wlfy. Really nice to see the boys on Team Rival really bounce back and provide the correct analysis and play through your ability hunters. So, Medusa, is she back, or is this specifically against Wlfy?
I think that Medusa has always had a little bit of merit to her. I think that you're hard-pressed to find a hunter that can't be fit into a composition of some sort, although whether or not it's going to be competitively viable is a completely different story, but Medusa has certainly earned her stars and stripes in that regard. I think that she is definitely someone to keep an eye out for, especially with this resurgence of Wlfy, because I think tossing out a Petrify whenever that Darkest Night is applied could go a long way for your team.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, especially when the lights are off. Now, as we approach game number 3, we have to look back to game number 1 and game number 2. Game number 1, Team Dignitas wins, despite it being very close for the majority of it. QvoFred and the Hebo jungle tearing everybody apart. Game number 2, Dignitas get the dream duo lane as far as the two gods that have been buffed recently, Guan Yu and Wlfy. Not enough to really contend. Votes Medusa, of all things, wind up toppling the tower that is Team Dignitas. Kind of funny when you think about Medusa, the one to protect us, versus Guan and Wlfy.
I think it was just that Trixtank just ate too much poke damage, and then Arkkyl tried to compensate for it by being the one to take most of the aggro, and that just kind of led into Arkkyl getting poked out a little bit too much. Then we see Trix just flat out die, and anytime that sort of situation occurs against an ability-based hunter like Medusa, she is one who kind of relies a little bit on that snowball factor, I think, and since Vote was actually able to get that, he's going to run all the way with it in that potential. I think that this is just another great showing from Vote of him really having developed into a hunter that you can fully rely on in terms of being able to carry a game with a lead.
Very, very true. All of the guys from Rival have kind of gone through that transformation, and Vote, perhaps the most recent, to really step up. Game number